We used to not have very many winds over there in eastern Washington where I live in Roslyn, but now that we have the same winds that other people have or worse. Ellensburg used to get a lot of wind.
My friend on the phone suggested I call the landlady it was about a half a city block from here to there to see if her house was windy. So I was happy because what we got 8-9 storms, that's one down, yeah.
I don't think it did too much damage, did it? It might have scared people. I don't think it did too much damage.
I looked on TV, Queen Anne Hill. I mean, everybody had something, power outages. And
oh, that kind of power, that's kind of normal now to me.
Yeah.
We have so many
Did you have
now.
a big wind?
For a very short time.
Yeah, that's what it was too. It's like less than 5 minutes. But it doesn't take long to think you're going to lose your part of the house. It was strong. I mean, it's like a roar. You know, I've heard that fires are like that, big fires. Well, that's what it sounded like a roar coming. It woke me out of a dead sleep.
And then you had a big birthday, landmark birthday.
Oh, yes, on the 4th of October. I had my 75th birthday party. Well, my 75th birthday. And I didn't do anything. My sister, who has cancer, I cooked for her. Because I love her, and I want to know that. But other than that, I just sat in the chair all day long. It was really nice because I don't sit in a chair all day long. And my one other sister, older sister, who's 80 years old, she came over. And my sister, who's 73, she's 2 years younger, and she just contracted cancer about 6 months ago. And there, I'd just like to tell anybody, whenever you go to the doctor, always get a second opinion, because you didn't, and that's why it was so serious. Because the doctor said, no problem, and she had a problem. So, always get a second opinion. And so she came over, and she's really, I think it was so sweet of her, because she can't even drive right now because of the chemo. But she's such an inspiration to me, because her sense of humor, she loves color. I mean, she likes color. She has her hair with red and yellow and all those kind of things. She just loves, and her clothes are really colorful. And what she does, I think she's there to help the doctors, because she has these wonderful kind of costumes she sews, and Halloween's coming. So it's really funny. She has this big, sorry, but it is funny, because she has this shirt, and on it says poison. And I said, put the doctor's name below, chemo. Put chemo above it.
I know somebody that needs one of those.
And then she has this cup that says poison, and it's a skull. Then she has this hat that she created that's really shiny and orange. Then on top of it, she's so creative. She glued a skull that lights up. And this is what she's going to take next week when she goes for her chemo, to warm up the doctors, because she says some of those doctors are worse off than her. They come in like this. She told them, no, come on now. You know, straighten those shoulders up. It's not that bad, you know. And I think she's there to lighten them up and the other people, because they don't. For her, one doctor says, you make my day, and she does make their day. Because she was come in there and I was a patient, I'd have to laugh. Because, I mean, it's just, she's so creative, just so creative. So I think it's going to help her a lot.
Yeah.
And the only thing she found out that I saw that, I knew a little bit about chemo, because a couple of my relatives have had cancer and went through chemo. But the one thing that happens that I thought was kind of interesting is her hand turns black. I mean, black. And I know it's because of the poisons. Because after about 10 days after chemo, it starts getting the natural color, because it's worked out of her body.
I watched a movie after you went to bed. I watched a movie last night. It's called Why I Wore Lipstick to My Mastectomy. That was an interesting movie.
What was the name of it?
Why I Wore Lipstick to My Mastectomy.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a good movie. Did you see it?
No, but it sounds like it would be.
Yeah, and it's on demand for the Comcast people. It was really, really an educational movie.
And one of the things she did, she brought some papers, because she wants to educate now. And so she brought her scan of her tumor, and we looked at it. It looks like a baby. It actually looks like a human fetus. And she says, when I saw that, I told her, look, you're in the wrong place. Get out of here. You're not staying here. But it actually looks like it had eyes. And like it does look like a fetus. It really does. And of course it was pretty advanced. And I thought, wow, yeah, get it out of here. But I had never seen one before. Not
I saw a report the other day where a woman actually, can't remember where it was. She had the baby died, and it was somewhere other than her womb.
Mm-hmm.
And 53 years later, she got real sick, and it had, it was like stone. What do you call that?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Like petrified, but it becomes. I've heard of one of those situations before. Years ago, I heard of that happening. A long time ago. But so I think it's quite a journey for her. But I also think it's learning for her. Because we were talking, I said, what do you think caused it? She said, you know, I really think that repressed anger I had for about 20 or 30 years.
Mm.
The anger was so bad. And she said, I'm sure that's what happened too. But she's just, her attitude is good. She says sometimes she breaks down and cries and she can't get hold of us. So you know your family's always moving. We move all the time. We're never sitting still. But most of the time she's real positive. And what's funny to me, not funny but unusual, is I have been told by someone, and I don't know, for everybody's different, that if you have cancer, cut out all your meat. Well, believe it or not, when she gets this illness behind it, the throwing up and the diarrhea, the only thing she can eat is meat.
Meat. When I had the food problem, the only thing I could eat was beef. The beef came from Costco. It was in a can. Only thing I could digest.
So, different things for different people.
Different people, yeah.
But as soon as she gets, after 4 or 5 days of the, 2 days after the chemo, about 3 or 4 days later, she starts eating. I mean, she boards. But she did say this, which is interesting, that all sweet things taste like acid.
Mm-hmm.
She can't eat anything sweet. And then her fingers, the nerves in her fingers, as she goes out like this weather here, in 2 minutes her fingers are just freezing. Just this part of the nerves, these are where your nerves are. But it's interesting to me, not because she has it, but I'm fascinated by health anyway. So watching the process with her is just really fascinating for me. I had a nephew who died from the same thing, but I don't think she's going to die. I really don't. And not because she's my sister, I just don't think so. Main thing is she eats. And a lot of people die because they don't want to eat, so they starve, and the immunity system gives up, and that causes mostly the problem. But she'd be bored, and so I made her something special. Anything she wants, I'm going to give her if I can. But she does. Another thing she found is the Ensure.
Mm-hmm.
The Ensure that they give older people.
Yeah.
She could actually drink it.
Yeah.
She was shocked because everything else tastes so bad.
Yeah.
So that's really powerful with the vitamins and stuff in it. So she's going on quite a journey. She's got till November, and she'll be finished with her chemo.
I got to witness something yesterday that was very moving to me.
Mm-hmm.
We came from the bus station. We had been invited for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got there, this lady, the one that had invited us, she handed you a folder.
Yes.
And you want to tell us what was in that folder?
Okay, well, I had a nephew who died in a forest fire approximately 6 years ago.
6 years. 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had cutouts from the paper about the fire and the situation after the fire and all that.
Over a 6-year period.
Over a 6-year period. And she kept them for me, so, because I'm starting a scrapbook just in his name, because it was, he's a pretty special person. 4 people died. And
it was a 30-mile fire.
30-mile fire, yeah. And so that was really nice, and I think his mom would like, after I get the scrapbook, she'll probably like it, so I'll give her a copy.
But when you stop and think about it, people hear something, and then they come up with the most wonderful things sometimes that you wouldn't even think of.
Collected more than I did on it.
Yeah, and she said, well, here, I was so moved.
I didn't know what it was that even that she was going to give me, because I don't remember asking or her saying it, because it's been 6 years.
6 years. I was so moved. And I find that with the friends and the viewers, sometimes 4 or 5 years after something, they either remember it or they do something about it. And so we can't really say people aren't listening, because they are.
Right.
They don't always act on it.
Immediately. Yeah.
I used to add, for those of you that remember the Dollar Saver, I used to advertise in the Dollar Saver. And one of the things that Cliff was the man's name that owned it, he said you have to be persistent. And like the paper would come out on Friday, and he would, you know, we deliver it and everything. And a lot of times phone calls wouldn't come in till Tuesday, because they pick up the paper and lay it there and get through the weekend, and on Tuesday then they look in the Dollar Saver.
Okay.
And it, because it was persistent, if you were looking for some, said, oh, well, let's see, I need such and such, oh, let me get a Dollar Saver. And they go to the store and pick one up, because it was there every week, you see. And that made me think, because just because people don't act on it on Friday, once it's in here, they can act on it at any given moment. Here is 6 years later.
Well, I think persistence, perseverance is very important. Very, very important for anything. But that was really, I haven't read them yet, because she just gave them to me, but when I take it home, I'll read it and put it in this scrapbook I started. Yeah, but they settled the case, and just I think about last month, the third situation legally, where they found the gentleman wrong. Well, my nephew, one thing I'll say about him, he'd been a firefighter for, oh my goodness, a long time. I'd say 7, 8, 9 years. And he was very good at taking orders. And so what happened was, this one man who was a little over him tried to say that he didn't listen, and he didn't take the order, and didn't do what he told him to do. Well, they found that was a lie. They just found that out 2 months ago, and they, thank goodness, I don't think they gave him any time, the young man. But he lied. But it was just, you know, I can understand him lying. You know, you get scared. But knowing my nephew, everybody knew that wasn't. They just knew, no, that's not true, because he always followed orders. And the thing about it is, he saw the fire coming. My nephew did, because they were just sitting on a rock. They had finished cleaning up an old fire, and he doesn't just sit. He went looking, and he saw that fire coming, and he told the gentleman, "Let's get out of here." And the gentleman said, "No, there's no problem," because he hadn't seen the fire. So it moved that fire's amazing. Just like flooding, there doesn't take much time to do with their damage. And the only thing I can remember people saying, the one young man that survived said, that roar, it's like it made its own wind.
Wow.
And it sounded like a train coming. I mean, it's amazing, and Mother Nature is really fascinating. And I do believe that fires are Mother Nature's way of clearing the forest and stuff. I really think so. And I think that I'm very proud of him, because I know he tried to help those 2 girls. Because I could see him screaming and running, and him trying to get them under those cheap little things they thought was going to save them, which they sued him about that, because it wasn't going to save them. So there's about 3 suits that came out of it, unfortunately. But he's a pretty special young man.
But you know, once a year or sometimes when we get together and we talk, when we tell other people's stories and how they intertwine with our lives, and we don't know who's listening and how it affects other people. And it's all connected, just like the stock market. If they think this is finished,
we're connected.
Everything is
globally.
So connected.
Yeah, all over the world, we're all connected some kind of way.
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of the humans, especially in the United States, have to learn, to realize that we are connected. That we can't live in isolation, and we're definitely not living in isolation in this technological age. No way. That we are connected, so we have to. I think we need to think more about other people and try to recognize that what we do affects everyone. That's from the top to the bottom. Everything that affects the trees, everything. We're all tied. You know, we're all tied on this planet called Earth. Pretty nice place.
I got a sidekick for Mother's Day. That's a T-Mobile phone. And you can
that's what you call it.
Program it to do little things. And I didn't have a computer for a long time. Now I do, thank you to some of you. And anytime you hear this bird, and it's an earthquake. There's a notifications of earthquake. you know.
Yeah.
So I got these birds going off, but because of the technology and everything, we can know something